Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. My name is David Green and I'm Professor of Historical Geography in the Geography Department of King's College in London. I know that some of you might have questions to ask, and if so, you can type them in and I'll read them out and try and provide some answers for you, either as we go through the presentation or at the end. So thank you for listening, thank you for participating, and do ask any questions if you've got them. If you're unsure where King's College is, it's right slap bang in the centre of London, and the Geography Department is located in the original building, the King's Building, which is on the Strand. The Strand is shown here on the map on the right, and the Geography Department is indicated by the green arrow. Behind it you can see the Thames, and on the left hand side you can see some of the buildings associated with King's. The second one down is the chapel, and that's also in the King's Building, and that also dates back into the early part of the 19th century. So we're in a very central part of London, probably the most central part of London, right next to the Thames, adjoining the Strand, midway between the City of London and Westminster. It's a great location. There's always something happening. There's always a concert or a film in Somerset House next door. It's just a fabulous place in which to study. So what is geography? Geography is a really varied subject. It encompasses the natural sciences and the social sciences, the arts and the humanities. So it's very much an interdisciplinary subject where the spatial understanding of the relationships between humans and the environment are the key parts of the discipline. A whole variety of people, not just geographers, think that this is an exciting subject. So Susie Orbach, a feminist writer, in 2011 just said geography, that's where all the exciting things are happening. And one of the many listservs, the email lists that people can log into to read about and learn about geography, one of those lists, the critical geography listserv, says, as a critical theorist and anthropologist, I find the current field of geography to be the most vibrant and cutting edge out there. So we've got lots of people, not just geographers, but sociologists, feminists, scientists, anthropologists, who think that geography is really one of those happening subjects. And that's why on our staff we've got sociologists, physicists, chemists, anthropologists. So it really is a reflection of what's happening in geography today. And that's reflected in our own geography department. We're one of the oldest departments in the UK. Geography was first taught at King's in 1854. And King's itself is one of those great institutions, ranked in the top 10 in the UK, 12th in Europe, and within the top 20 in the world rankings. And so not surprisingly, some of our staff are themselves leading world experts in their field. Now I'm just going to give you two or three examples of how that translates into the kind of work they do. And all of these people are those that you would encounter on the course itself. The first is Mark Pelling, shown here on the left-hand side. And Mark's, let's hope this animation works, here we go. Mark has been involved in understanding how communities respond to disaster and how you can build resilience in communities. And that's been the subject of a report that he's produced for the IPCC, the International Panel on Climate Change. We also have two other people, in fact, who sat on that panel, Mike Hume and Franz Burkhout, and as a result of their works, that whole panel was given a Nobel citation for their work on climate change. The second person in this list is Martin Worcester. And Martin is a physicist, and his speciality is using remote sensing, satellite imagery, to understand the dynamics of airflow. And he's used that to understand the way that volcanic eruptions, the smoke from wildfires spread through the atmosphere. And that's really an important subject, because if we can understand those airflows, we can begin to model what might happen in volcanic explosions. And of course that has really commercial implications, because as we found out 2 or 3 years ago with the Icelandic eruption, if one eruption disrupted entire flights around the world for several weeks. So it's important that we get a better understanding of that. The third person I want to just highlight is Debbie Potts. Debbie is a leading expert on African urbanization. Although her work has been focused on southern Africa, looking at the relationships between the environment, the rural environment and the urban environment, and the way rural and urban migration are part of a continuing interlinked flow of people, she's also questioned the rate at which African urbanization more generally is taking place. And her work has been picked up by the Financial Times, The Guardian, two very important newspapers here, and also by the Africa Centre in London. So all of these professors and many others are doing world-leading research, and that research feeds into the geography course itself. So what is our degree, and what's our philosophy about teaching? The first and important part is it is research-led teaching. We do research and we bring that into the classroom. We also like to have a wide variety of choices, from the physical geography through to human geography, from applied social sciences to the more cultural informed courses. So we have a variety of modules, and we also have a variety of different ways of examining those modules. Reflective diaries, seminar presentations, essays, reports, research, pieces of individual research. And a particularly important part of that assessment is the third-year project, something we call the independent geographical study. Students are allocated a tutor in their second year, and they work with that tutor throughout the second and their third year to produce a piece of original work. And sometimes that is of extremely high quality. Last year, for example, one of our students studied historical responses to famine in Great Britain. This is a very contemporary problem about famine fatigue, so people who get used to seeing pictures of starving African babies often stop giving. Well, she studied this in the 19th century and found exactly the same phenomena in relation to famines in India in the 1890s. And she's just won a national prize for that piece of research. So these are excellent pieces of research that our students do. And finally, we're very keen to present our students with transferable skills. By that, what I mean is computer skills, so they all learn how to use GIS, Geographical Information Systems. They all learn about statistics and the way of handling quantitative data, so they're comfortable with it. But they also learn about interviewing techniques, about how to design effective questionnaires, and how to conduct effective sampling. These are all transferable skills that students can take with them into their jobs. And we'll talk about jobs a bit later, but it's not surprising that geography is one of those subjects which, although it doesn't lead directly into a specific job like medicine or law, yet it has some of the highest employment rates for our graduates of any subject in the country. And below this, these kind of philosophy behind our teaching, as geographers, of course, we're very interested in using experiential learning, learning in the field. And below just gives you 3 kinds of field trips that we've done. In fact, I've just come back from walks around London with my course on 19th century London, so we really do learn in the field. I'll talk more about field trips later, but experiential learning, field-based learning is a very important part of geography, as well as or the lab-based practicals where you learn about physical geography and quantitative geography that we teach in the course. So how is our degree structured over the 3 years? The first year is an orientation year, and by that I mean all students do the same kind of courses. They all do a physical geography course, the natural environment. They do a first year course called the Foundations of the Modern World. They all learn how to do some GIS work, how to be confident in statistics and in qualitative analysis. And that's backed up by small group tutorials. By tutorial, what I mean is a small group of around about 4 or 5 students that meet with their tutor once a week, and they go through the work that has been set. The second year, we try and provide a really firm foundation in methods. So we do more practical computer work, practical field work, and practical laboratory work. If you're a physical geographer, you might spend a bit more time in the laboratory. If you're a human geographer, you might spend a bit more time in the computer lab. But either way, in that second year, you really get a firm grounding for the skills that you need to carry out research that will also take you into the world of work. In the third year, you can begin to specialize in particular courses. So if you want to do more urban courses, you can follow my course on 19th century London, or you can do a course on regeneration and urban governance, or on global cities. You can also focus more on environmental change or on development. There are a large number of modules that are available for you to take in your third year. So the way our degree is structured is that you can follow particular pathways. In the second year, you choose whether you're going to follow a BA, a Bachelor of Arts, or a BSc, which is the physical geography route, or the spatial analysis route. For the BA, you can do human geography, which is mainly urban and cultural, or you can do a course on society, environment and geography, which explores the relationships between human beings and their environment, or you can take a pathway called development geography, which looks at the way that the world develops, in particularly Africa, India and Asia, and the field trip associated with that particular pathway goes to India. If you're more interested in the physical, the natural world and the physical processes that comprise the natural world, you'll take the BSc and specialise in the physical geography pathway. Their field trip goes to Morocco. And if you're more interested in the quantitative side and the use of GIS and statistics and the way to visualize data and geographical evidence, then you'll take a new pathway called spatial analysis. In order to find out a bit more about our pathways, there's a diagram on our website, and this shows you how you can navigate through each year, and will give you information on each of the modules that are associated with those pathways. Each pathway will always have a core module, and they'll also have a range of options that you can choose from. By going to our website and going to the pathway diagram, which is on the front page, you'll be able to understand exactly how your degree can be put together. So you've worked out what the philosophy of our teaching is, how we deliver that across the 3 years, what the pathways involve. So what would a typical week look like? In the first year, you'll have around about 10 hours of lectures and practicals, and then you'll have 1 hour of tutorials. Now you might say, oh, that's only 11 hours. What do I do with the rest of my time? Well, a lot of that time is devoted to private research. Each of those lectures has got a reading list or a set of tasks for you to go away and read up and research about. So for every hour, we might expect you to do 2 to 3 hours additional reading. You're given guidance as to what that reading is, but it's really to your advantage to do it because that helps you understand the broad subject. So the lectures provide you with a structure, the skeleton if you like, but you provide the body, you provide the content, and you come to discuss that both in your tutorials and also with the lecturers themselves. In the second year, in addition to the lectures, you also have the practical and the field work, and this is where most of our skills training takes place. And you also, excuse me, have a tutorial, a 1-hour tutorial, and this is usually every other week. And again, this is the point at which you come together with a small number of students. You've done the reading, you've been set a task, and you come and discuss that for an hour. Sometimes it goes on for longer with your tutor. All the academic staff take part in those tutorials. So you might encounter Mike Hume or Franz Berghout, Nobel laureates. You might encounter the most junior of our lecturers who are doing some of the best research, the most cutting edge research. But you will find that the tutors are there to help you and to hone your skills of discussion and thought. In the third year, you're doing, in addition to the lectures and seminars, and there are plenty of seminars going on in the department, you also do research for your independent project. And to back up that research, your tutor will meet you as often as necessary, as you want to, on a one-to-one basis and talk about your ideas and how you might hone them. And that's one of the reasons why our dissertations are usually of a very high quality. So it's not surprising, given the quality of the students, the teaching and the research-led emphasis, that many of our students, when they come to finish their degree, get outstanding results, and those outstanding results translate into careers. Now, about a third of our students, and you can see this on the left-hand side, go on to do a master's. That's a pretty high proportion, higher than most places. And the reason for that is not just that the students themselves are excellent, but they've got a taste for further research. The remainder go into careers. So King's has got one of the highest rates of graduate employment in the UK. Indeed, it's the top last year. And about 90% of our leavers have found employment within 6 months of graduating. And 70% of those are in managerial or professional posts 6 months after they graduate. Geography has an extremely good reputation amongst employers because the geographers that come out with a BA or BSc are both numerate, they are confident in handling quantitative data, they're confident in using qualitative data in interviews and questionnaires, they're used to working in groups because that's what they do in fieldwork and tutorials, they're used to presenting their ideas visually in posters or in presentations or PowerPoints. And so they're very confident at doing research and presenting research. And that confidence translates into the kind of skills that employers really look for. And backing those skills up, the college itself has a very wide range of different awards that it encourages students to take. So the King's Leadership Award, for example, is a separate program run by the Careers Service where you learn about what it means to be a leader. So you'll learn about event organization, financial management, about teamwork. It's really useful skills that will stand you in very good stead in the workplace. In addition to that kind of professional type training, you can also study abroad for a term or a semester or a year. So many of our students have been to Los Angeles, to Melbourne, to the University of Hong Kong, University of Singapore, University of North Carolina. These are great institutions that we're partnered with. And it's possible to go and spend a term or a year there and come back and have that counted as part of your own degree. Backing that up, students can opt to do an internship. I've just come back for an exhibition which is on Victoria, the use of Victorian ideas in modern day Britain, and that exhibition was partly researched by one of our interns who worked with the Guildhall Gallery for a period of weeks researching that exhibition. So those internships provide a really good opportunity for you to try out different kinds of careers in different kinds of sectors. Although it doesn't necessarily count as part of your degree, it's a great way of building up your CV. And King's has an internship office where many students find that kind of experience. Well, just to put some real concrete careers to faces, this is a picture of a 2004 field trip. It was taken by one of our current PhD students who was an undergraduate at that time, and she decided she would look at LinkedIn and try and find out who was doing what jobs. Now, I can't read out every job that was being done, and this is the group that she went out with, but you've got people working for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, for the Metropolitan Police, for Siemens. You've got directors of the World Food Programme, analysts for water companies, medical technical officers, project coordinators for water companies, a whole range of different kinds of careers, both related to physical geography in this case, because this is a Morocco field trip, but also to an interest in the environment and indeed in just general professional opportunities at both national and local government level. So this is a very high-flying bunch of students that are now in the early stages of their careers, and many of them are progressing up into much more senior positions at the current time. Within the department, we also have a careers program. This is a monthly meeting where we bring in alumni. So in November, we'll have a talk from 5 or 6 of those from different sectors on what they look for in a graduate. Then that's backed up in a month's time with an internship meeting, then another meeting a month later on how to write that fantastic CV, and so on. And this progresses through the year. These are all extracurricular activities in addition to lectures. So we're keen that our students go out into the world of work really well equipped and fantastic ambassadors, not just for geography, but also for King's College. And so just to finally round off that section on careers, this is a little word map of the kind of careers that our masters have gone into in the last 3 years or so. And you'll see conservation and environment, social science research, administration, teaching, education, all of those are very important elements of the sectors or sectors in which our students go into. Well, having told you a lot about the course and the careers, what do our students actually say about us? Each year there's a survey carried out, a National Student Survey, and the students have an opportunity, the third years who've graduated, have an opportunity to say what they think about our degree. This is what some of them have said. 92% have said that the course is intellectually stimulating. 91% say the staff are good at explaining things, and I hope that I'm part of that 91% in explaining what our degree is about. 89% say the staff have made the subject interesting. And of course, we're all enthusiasts, that's why we're doing this job, so we hope that that enthusiasm is conveyed through our lectures. 89% of the staff are enthusiastic about what they teach. 98% of our students agree that the library resources and services are good quality, and 86% say the course is well organised and runs smoothly. And those students have a chance to actually write comments in this survey, and these are some of the comments that have come back in the last few months. I won't read all of them out. I'll read one or two of them out. You can read the rest on the presentation. On the right hand side, one of the students said, very approachable department. Before I accepted KCL, it's King's College London, I thought it had the best course. After 3 years it has lived up to its high expectations with constant improvements, one being the new current research module. That was a module that is seminar based in the third year where small numbers of students can sit in and take 4 seminars with members of staff on the research they're currently doing, and they write up a reflective diary to represent what they've learned. On the left hand side, I'll read it out, it says second year field trip was brilliant. Modules have been engaging, lecturers have an evident passion for their research area. Assessment types vary to give students greater chance. My personal tutor was always available and scheduled regular meetings. Every student has a personal tutor. They keep that personal tutor for all 3 years. That person gets to know them pretty well, is there to offer advice and to support them in anything they do, be it choice of career, whether to do an internship, whether to go on a year abroad. Their personal tutor is theirs and they know them for the whole of their 3 years. Now, I promised you that I'd get back to field trips because this is really one of the most exciting parts of the degree. So this is what we do. All our first years go on a field activity week, which is actually happening as I speak. They go and do some measurements using airborne radar in a forest close to London. They visit galleries. They have talks at the Royal Geographical Society. There's a whole set of exercises that they do based around London. In the second year, students go to one of 3 destinations. They either go to San Francisco if they're doing urban or cultural geography. They go to Kerala in India if they're doing development geography. And they go to Morocco if they're doing physical geography. And some of the slides here, the ones on the right, show that first year activity week. The ones at the bottom show the pictures of Kerala and also enjoying each other's company in San Francisco at the end of what is sometimes quite a long week, but a really enjoyable one. Well, backing all of this up, we have a very active student body. And bouncing in here, you see the newsletter of the KCL Geography Society, the JogSoc. The JogSoc is a student-led society, usually run by the second and third years with representatives of the first years, and they organise all sorts of events. This might be visits to local pubs just for socialising. It might be to invite guest speakers in. Sometimes they go on nighttime walks with guides, and they also help to run the Geography Buddying Scheme, where we partner our new students, first years, with second and third years. And those second and third years become the geography parents, and the first years become the geography children. And they get together in families, and they usually have a good time. But there's a serious side to this. It means that none of the first years who are experiencing London and university life for the first time feel that they're isolated or alone. They've always got some second and third years that they can turn to. They can message on Facebook or text or email. And depending on how active these families are, they sometimes just go for tea, they go for excursions, or they'll go out in the evening just for social reasons. So the Geography Society and the geography students are a really sociable bunch, but they form a really important part of our community. Now finally, if you want a window into what's going on a day-to-day basis, there's no better way than linking into our Facebook page. It's very simple. It's just KCL Geography at the Facebook site. And there you'll see all sorts of posts. not just about what seminars are taking place or who's written this paper, but also what the students are doing, the charity events they're supporting, or the careers events that are taking place. Indeed, some people have even found jobs through Facebook because every time an opportunity comes up, it's posted there. So this is a great window into the department if you want to find out what's happening on a day-to-day basis. The other thing to do is to follow us on Twitter. And if you go to Twitter now, you'll see all the photographs and activities that the students, the first year students, are getting up to on their London Activity Week. So this will give you an idea of the vibrancy of the department. So Facebook and Twitter are the window into the life of the geography community at King's. So that about wraps it up. So thank you for listening. If you want to find out more, please go to our webpage, which you can see on this slide. Follow us on Facebook at KCL Geography, or follow us on Twitter, also on KCL Geography. And if you're in London, or you'd like to come to London, we run monthly taster days. Those are half days where you can come in, hear about geography, learn about how to do some computer mapping, visit our geography lab. We have various experiments that we run, such as how to make a greenhouse gas, and meet with current students. So do come and join us, find out more about us, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you very much for listening.